Hi, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Sandy Sheshik, and on this channel, I love to share all the wisdom that my guides in spirit bring through me through writing and verbal channeling. I am coming on here on June 20th to 2025 and wanted to talk today about some of the things that came through from my guides in some channeled writing that I did um, just this past weekend. I was seeking guidance on chaos going on throughout the world and the United States with events, politics, wars, all sorts of stuff. So I was just asking the guides, what is your guidance for this, for these times right now for myself and for other people? And they were mainly saying, I can read you a little bit about what they said. They're saying, learn to stay centered in your own neutrality and learn how to shift out of the negativity that can sometimes surround you and learn to disengage with what creates chaos in your mind. And they're saying, move away from stimulating things that disrupt your peace, such as scrolling the news or scrolling social media. They're saying these things keep you locked in patterns of emotion that don't serve you. You can get your top level news from sources like ChatGPT, where you can have control over how ChatGPT filters your news. For example, maybe ask ChatGPT or your other AI source to give you a unspun, neutral, top-line news perspective for the day. That way you're not burying your head in the sand and just, pretending like nothing else exists, but you're also not getting dragged into sensational headlines to evoke fear or it'll help you stay in your own neutrality, which is what they're trying to promote and tell us that if we can stay in that space, we are going to have an easier time taking spiritually aligned action and, just creating peace within ourselves. And so I actually thought that was a good suggestion because I too tend to get a little bit like, going down the rabbit hole with some of the news stuff. And I do notice that it affects my peace. And it's just helpful to recognize that we could actually leverage technology to help us stay more neutral. So they also were saying that there's going to be a shift towards the end of summer in terms of energy. A lot of us will feel this energy shift. It will bring a little bit more sensitivity to the energy around us. And they're just saying, remember who you are in this. You are a light being here to change the world in this shift. Remember with your convictions and focus on what you prefer, not what you don't. Create from a sense of peace and that all is well and will be well in the end. So again, this is, I feel like, an important point right now. Focusing on what you prefer, not what you don't, because there's a lot of anger out there going on, where it's anti this, anti that. And they're just saying, focus on an outcome that you prefer, not like being against something, because they say this further on, that actually just brings more energy to that issue. So let's see here. So it also says, everyone is filled with so much anger right now, and this is causing such negativity in the world. Encourage people to go back to neutrality. There's many political groups that need to be reminded that they are not improving things by being against a current president or laws or actions, etc. They are simply bringing more energy to it by focusing on what they don't want. This will bring more energy, or they need to be reminded to promote and focus on what they do want. So again, putting the focus on the positive side of what you want to attract to the world, to your nation, whatever, to your personal life, whatever it is. And by doing that, it will be bringing more energy and more cohesive energy that is more powerful to change things. Also, we're also sensing that, like, some of these political groups, the anger is very intense and it's getting in the way of moving towards positivity. The anger is creating more negativity, which is in turn creating more chaos. If they could look at their anger as an invitation to examine their beliefs deeper, they could transform their anger in themselves. And by doing this deep introspection of personal beliefs, they can start to grow spiritually. If they can move into their heart space, they can start to see things from a different perspective. This heart space is where we feel the interconnectedness of all beings, and from that perspective, we move into non-judgment, a neutral state of being. It is in this space that they can align with their higher self and feel the nudges of their soul to take spiritually aligned action instead of action that is being driven by anger or fear. So I feel like this point was important to just take in, because I think a lot of people in certain political groups or perspectives will feel that if they see something they don't like, if they're not joining the anti-movement against something, then they're condoning it. And so simply, the guides are saying this is just not the case. By aligning with doing something that is intensifying anger or done out of anger or fear, it really is just, again, feeding more energy into that which they don't prefer. So I feel like that's just an important point for people. So it is actually more beneficial. You'll be moving the world more towards what you do prefer and what you feel is best for the country or yourself by doing the inner work first, making sure you are spiritually aligned, making sure you are neutral first, so that you can actually tune into what the guidance is for you personally. So you could take your own spiritually aligned action versus taking action from fear or anger. Another interesting perspective that comes from different perspectives, different groups, is they might see their religion or their viewpoint or their political side as being morally superior to the other groups. But I think during this time, they're going to start to see contradictions in this. And morals really are just a human construct based on or based in judgment, is what the guides are saying. The guides are saying they will start to see that no one is above anyone else and that there is divinity in all. It is just a matter of us waking up to that reality. So similarly, for those who pride themselves on being compassionate, they're often not being compassionate to others who don't think like they do. This is something they will discover when they examine their thoughts and beliefs about the other political side. Their most critical judgments of the other side will act as a mirror and reflect in them what they reject in themselves or fail to see in others. So again, they're just telling us that a lot of the things that we judge other people on often is just an invitation for us to look at ourselves internally and ask ourselves how we are being that way to ourselves or other people in our life or whatever it is. But again, it takes stepping into that neutral perspective, being able to step away from the ego part of ourselves that's very attached to our belief systems, very attached to our perspective, stepping into the neutral space by tuning into the heart and kind of having that inner deep reflection to really truly see ourselves as we really are. So if this video resonated with you and you'd like to share what my guides are saying with more people, I would love if you would subscribe or share with your friends. I'll be trying to post as much as I can from what the guides bring through.